If you've ever had a client that just drains you, has cost you money, or worse, straight up disrespects you, then I am going to be teaching you exactly how to fire a client without ruining or blowing up your reputation. Welcome to The Rebel Show, the podcast for estheticians who want to grow their business, master social media, and perfect their waxing technique. I'm Bree Mesquit, esthetician, business coach, and founder of Rebel Wax and First to Market Wax Pads. I built a 6-figure clientele, a 7-figure brand, and have trained over 15,000 waxers through my in-person and online courses. Are you struggling to book clients or market yourself? You're in the right place. Each week, I bring real business strategies, waxing education, and no BS advice to help you grow. Let's get into it. Keeping every single client is not the goal. And I know that sounds crazy because I'm always talking about retention. We really want to keep on the right clients and make duplicates of them. If you have, and this is a prime example, a full clientele of like Grouponers, we'll call them. I'm not always talking about specifically coming from Groupon, but those deal chasers, the ones that show up late, they don't respect your policies, they're trying to haggle pricing. You will burn out so freaking fast, it's not even funny. So we want to really be building our clientele with the right people. And also sometimes our mental just health and capacity is so much more important because having that one person that you see, I know you know what I'm talking about. You see their name on your schedule, you get that instant dread. It actually can pour in and affect your level of service to your other clients as well. So sometimes these people just need to go because they're not the right fit for you. I'm going to break it all down for you on exactly how to do this and also why it's so important to pay attention to your LTV. This is something that's not talked about enough. It means lifetime value. How much a client spends in your business over the lifetime of their relationship with you and your business. We want to increase this number as high as possible. That's how you will build a very profitable, sustainable, healthy business is when you focus on this. First of all, how do you know when it's time to fire them? Repeated no-shows, last-minute cancellations despite your policy, continuing to have those conversations with them fighting you on paying that fee, whatever that fee is. It may be time to part ways with a client like that. If they're ever disrespectful or rude or crossing boundaries or making you feel uncomfortable in any way, that's just a gotta go immediately for me. I've had a couple incidences like that where I just mid-service asked them to get dressed and to leave. I didn't even charge them for the service. Asked them to leave, they got blocked, and they weren't welcome back. There are times too when I thought it was necessary to warn other local surrounding service providers of this person because I wanted to make sure that they didn't end up in the same situation as well. Sometimes people just need to be blocked from like service providers in general. Sometimes it goes beyond them just not being the right fit for you. And sometimes they just aren't the right fit for anybody because they're inappropriate, rude, and dangerous. So that is a red flag of gots to go. And that's not something I wait on. I do it right then and there. Constant negotiating of your prices. It's not up for negotiation. This isn't the freaking swap meet. Like you have your set service menu and your pricing and that's it. They're not the right ones for you if they continue to do that to you every single time. It's draining and it's rude. They're not the right fit. And then really it can be, I want to be careful on this one because sometimes we are in the service-based industry, but if they're just like the biggest emotional drain and it does leak out into the way you service the rest of your clients for that day and it's something you continue to bring home with you, it's just not worth it. And that might be one of those times when they're just not the right fit for you, but maybe another service provider would be the right fit for them. But those are some of the like more clear red flags. Another one too that I actually didn't put in my notes is they're just never happy with the results. I feel like with waxing it's a little bit more rare. I can see hairstylists dealing with this a lot more. The people who are just not ever happy and it can be like things that are just out of your control. It could be because of different hair growth cycles, and you've explained this to them. Hey, you're going to have, growth after a couple weeks. And our first step is sync up your hair growth cycles. Maybe they're unhappy with the results, but it's really ultimately they're not following proper aftercare. It can be clients like that too. They may just not be the best fit for your business. So quick interruption to the show. If you're a waxer and you're tired of scrambling when you run low on wax and you're tired of paying full price, this is your sign to get on a subscription. With Rebel Wax subscriptions, you can save 10 to 15% and unlock free shipping on select tiers, plus your wax gets delivered automatically. No more last minute panicking, no more expensive rush shipping, and definitely no more emergency trips to SalonCentric and Cosmoprof paying high prices for a low quality wax. You choose your formula, choose your quantity, and decide how often you want your wax delivered. Every 30, 60, 90, or 120 days. And if you need to make any changes, you can easily pause, skip, or cancel at any time. This is for estheticians and waxers who want a smarter, more profitable way to keep their studios stocked. To get started, visit lashandwaxoc.com, choose your bag size, your formula, the quantity that you would like, and then make sure to click subscribe and save. Then you will see 30, 60, 90, and 120 day delivery options. Choose which one is best for you, then click add to cart. Once you do this, your discount applies immediately and your wax will ship right on time. Stop wasting time, stop wasting money, go to lashandwaxoc.com and lock in your subscription today. Now back to the show. Now we've gotten past that and you have decided there's a client that you would like to fire. First step is to check your policies and make sure that they are clearly posted and written on your website and then anywhere else as well, but 100% on your website. Cancellation, your late policy, no refund policy. Make sure that it is clearly written. And if you need to update that, then do it. So this is something to keep in mind right now. Make sure that you're documenting any issues that you're having with the client. So I have my waxer at my studio document when people are late or if there was anything weird or off that we need to keep track of to protect ourselves and to just document for our own knowledge in the future. If there ever was the potential that we needed to let someone go, we have all that documented. So just on their client profile on your booking site, make sure to do that. We want to also define and figure out, this is just not the right fit for me, but I'm willing to refer them out to someone else, or do you not even feel comfortable to refer them to anyone because of the reasons we talked about earlier, where maybe they're just dangerous or really make people really are uncomfortable and inappropriate. So you want to get prepared with that as well. You're also never going to be attacking their worth or them as a person. We need to be very careful with the way that we script this out to them. At the end of the day, you're protecting your standards for what you will accept within your business. The firing conversation. Usually the only time this has ever really, for me personally, has taken place in person is when there was a confrontation where it needed to be addressed right then and there. So I gave you a few examples of people just being inappropriate, rude. I asked them to get up, get dressed, and leave. I also had one client that was with me for a long period of time, but then she would continue. She started making it a habit of canceling last minute, wanting to reschedule her appointment, and would give me a lot of grief when I would let her know, sure, I have no problem rescheduling you, but because we're within my 24-hour period, I am going to have to charge you or put the fee on your account for when you come in next. And she would get so upset. And one time she's like, fine, I'll come in. I won't go see my dying grandma in the hospital. And I was like, that's funny because your grandma comes and gets her lashes from me too. And I just saw her this morning. So you need to communicate your alibi a little bit better. So she was so incredibly rude. So I was like, okay, we'll look forward to seeing you later, whatever. So then she comes in and she was so mean and the energy, I don't know how to explain it. When you get to that point where you're so mad, you're shaking and want to cry, but you're not, it's just weird. I don't know. I was just so, I couldn't even get her iPads under her eye. She was so incredibly rude. And I told her, I was like, your grandma, is this the same grandma that I see? Because she was in earlier and she seemed fine. Did something happen in between? I knew she was freaking lying, but whatever. She's like, she said, shut up and just do my lashes. And I was so livid. I was like, you can get up and you're not welcome back here anymore. I'll go ahead and refund you for the packages that you didn't use yet. So that was an instance where It was an in-person, on-the-spot fire. All right, so that's in person. I guess the script, I don't really have a script for you on that one. Just be no emotional. Okay, it was emotional. No character bashing or like getting ghetto. I don't know how else to explain it besides that. Keep the professionalism. I still was very clear on like, I wasn't going to accept her talking to me like that, but I didn't get into it. It wasn't a back and forth. It was like, okay, you can go ahead and leave and I will go ahead and refund you the remaining packages you have. You're no longer welcome to come here. Like, that's it. I wasn't like, well, you're a liar and I saw your grandma and like, I hate you. You suck. You're annoying, spoiled, rich Newport. Like, okay, I'm just kidding. That you can have that play in your head. Role play that later with your spouse when you let them know the situation. But don't ever get caught up into that with the client in the moment. I know it can be really hard, but this is where we need to learn a little emotional self-regulation and just like biting our tongue and still keeping it professional, even if they are not. Ultimately, we're just getting them out and they're not welcome back as a client. All right. Then you also have a text or email. I prefer to do both. Like, we'll text them and then we'll also email, more for documentation too. I just feel like we're covering all the bases. It needs to be short, clear, professional, non-emotional, of just, hi, due to the continued late cancellations or the continued no-shows or the continued arriving late, I just unfortunately do not feel that we are the best fit for you. You're putting the blame on you. I actually have scripts for my girls to follow if this ever happens, but based on, and then brief reason. So based on your habitual late cancellations or late arrivals, we won't be able to book future appointments. Any existing appointments that you already had booked have been canceled. I wish you the best on finding a studio that's a better fit. Or we also will change this too. We also are happy to send over a few recommendations for other service providers that may fit your needs better. I don't know. You can kind of play around with this. ChatGPT it, okay? ChatGPT and come up with a script, but don't ever just copy and paste it and then just use that. Like, make sure that it feels like something that you would actually say. But I really recommend starting to document these scripts. So that's what I do with my studio. I'm no longer the one servicing clients, but anytime a new situation comes up that my current waxer hasn't dealt with before, I send her over a script based on just like my years of experience dealing. Like, there's not really been a situation that I haven't encountered before at some point in my career. So I create a script. We have a Google Doc labeled Rebel Wax Studio scripts, and we plug it in there, title it very clearly so that in the future she continues to know how to do that. The biggest point of this, so when you're talking through with ChatGPT to like come up with your perfect script, it's always taking the blame of, we no longer feel like we're the right fit for you, and then offering that referral if they are someone that you're willing to refer out. They're not dangerous or anything, it's just not a good fit. And then also being very clear that future appointments have been canceled and that they'll no longer be able to book online too. That's another thing that you may want to give them a heads up on. A couple of things may happen, okay? So first of all, you need to document this on their client profile. Second of all, be prepared. You may get a negative review. Okay. So you're going to have to respond to that. We don't want to keep on a really bad client for our business just because they're holding us hostage to the threat of a negative review. I actually did an episode all about how to handle negative reviews. So you guys can go listen to that, but they're not going to sink the ship as much as we always think that they are. So documenting, being prepared for that, and then do not get in a back and forth battle with them. They may start texting you, blowing you up. I mean, I've had people who were calling and I just ignored it unless there was anything that was needing to be addressed, like clarity on what it was going to look like going forward, which was, you're no longer welcome here. But once I stated everything and all the information that they needed to know, then that was it. I will not go back and forth. And you also want to be very conscientious that people can screenshot and upload to the internet anything that they want. So whatever you're saying and texting or emailing back and forth, you need to be doing with professionalism in a way that you are okay if it's ever screenshotted and shared publicly, okay? Because it can definitely be. Sometimes people get really upset about being fired and they will try to take you out. And then going forward, what do we need to do? If this is something that you're constantly dealing with, then it's like, okay, there's a broken piece in my system. We need to prevent now. Like, instead of just always playing damage control and being in that like emergency situation, we want to be preventative now. So we need to make sure policies, again, are correctly stated on your website, within your booking system, intake forms too, so they're agreeing to your policies is really important. And then a big one too is the first time that, especially I'm talking like late no-show, like those people, is being really firm on your policy again and charging. A lot of times I give the first one as a pass, but I never just say, oh, no problem. I say, we do have a 50% fee. I have no problem waiving that this time, but please know that there is a note on your account for going forward. We will have to charge that. And next time you come in, we'll just ask for a card on file, but I'm happy to reschedule you and I can't wait to see you in again. So that's what we do. We don't have a card on file up front, but we will get a card on file after their first like policy infringement. We will then get a card on file for going forward. And then it's just a charge that's automatically charged. But we have everything mapped out and documented and signed so that we're legally allowed to do that. Here is your call to action. If there was a name or two maybe that popped in your head when I was going through any of the red flags, I encourage you to just send that text, send that email. I know it's weighing so heavy on you because I've been there. It's the worst thing ever, but I promise you a weight will feel lifted after you finally pull the trigger and do it. And the more that we do it, and hopefully this isn't something that I want you guys practicing all the time, because the goal is that we're not having to fire our clients and we're attracting good clients to our business. But the more you do this as it's needed and necessary, the easier it is gonna get. But that's why I love having these scripts in my phone. I have it at the studio, in the studio phone, copy and paste, change it up a little bit for that client. It just feels like there's a little bit more of a detachment from it. But I know how hard it is, especially when you're solo. Adwin, my commission waxer, is like, I always tell her, I'm like, blame it on me. You have the luxury of placing blame on me. The owner requires this. Like, you're going to get me in trouble. I'm going to get fired if I don't adhere to these policies. So it's kind of nice for her to be able, and that's not true. That's not going to happen. But I encourage her, like, push the blame onto me. Like, these are our policies and your part of your job is upholding these policies. So, but I know that as solo SDs, we can't do that. So it's hard. I get it. I have so much empathy for it. This is the not fun parts of building business. But what is fun is having the right clients, and that's going to be so much more beneficial to you than holding on to the wrong one. So I encourage you to do that if that's something that you feel is needed to be done. All right, guys, if you want to see exactly how to handle a negative review, go ahead and head to this episode. And if you're listening on Spotify, you'll head over to episode 86. I'll see you guys over there.